Well, they're going to be talking about this 9/11 thing for many years to come, because it's already got to a point now where people are starting to realize how bloody obvious it was that it was a farce. It is physically impossible, we know this, to fly 2 planes into the Twin Towers and have them fall down. If there was enough fuel to burn the metal, which there wasn't, but even if there was, and they hit at the lowest part of the tower, perhaps the towers would have fallen over. But they wouldn't have fallen straight down. For the towers to fall straight down, and this is what they're trying to sell us, you have to use explosives. It's a simple fact. It's physics. It's a law of physics, and you can't get around the laws of physics. I mean, the other 3 places that get attacked, supposedly, they didn't even make it to the news. There's a couple of shots about a hole in a wall that's half the size of a plane, and a couple of spare parts that they get from a junkyard or something. I mean, the whole thing is so obvious that it almost doesn't make sense to be wanting to talk about it. But on the other hand, we've got to talk about it, because the conspirators are pointing the finger at people who want to say the truth and calling them conspirators. So when the truth about a thing is a conspiracy, then there's definitely a major problem with the government, because a government is supposed to be there for the people and not dictating to the people. And there's no way that you can tell me that it's good for the people to terrorize them with artificial terror attacks that they instigate themselves, and then blame it on another country, which we all know afterwards, even if we didn't think about it, that it was bullshit. I mean, a terrorist attack is no justification to invade a land, even if it was a real terror attack. And they go into a country every 4 or 5 years, people. It's a complete progress of taking over the world. And of course they want to divide China up so they can start picking at that. And it is completely in the American interest for their outside politics, whatever it's called, housing politics, what's it called in English? Anyhow, it's in their interest to divide up the world, impoverish the world, and then buy it up. And if you take a look at Africa right now, it is so impoverished that they just go in there with their companies and buy it up. I mean, Europe isn't really that much separate from North America. It's all one big company. The people that live there don't really have much to do with it. They're just the workers. Alright? So, was that all for what I was going to say? Let me think about it. Okay, that's the one point I want to make. The point that everybody is pointing at people who are saying that the 9/11 job was an inside job. And they're pointing the finger and saying, you are crazy, you are a conspirator. That's bullshit. To question an event that has happened in the world, that has changed the world, is natural curiosity, and that is part of our instinct. And we need to know everything about it, not a little story that they give us to the news. The news isn't news. It should be illegal to have news after the word Fox, because they do not have any news. They are completely and utterly, they are so obviously an advertisement for the money corporations, and the CNN is so obviously bullshit. I don't understand how people cannot understand how much bullshit is in there. If the news shows all over the world, all over North America, and all the news shows and all the papers are owned by the people that own the banks, by people that own everything, you're not going to get any news. That's obvious. And if your eyes tell you, if you look at a video and you have seen enough of them, and you see the tower going straight down, and then there's enough evidence that it didn't tip over sideways, because if it did tip over sideways, you definitely would have got pictures of that. But no, it came straight down, and that is enough evidence to know that an investigation is needed to find out who really set it up. And it should be a serious event, because this is terrorism in the homeland, which means anarchy. We have anarchy. Anarchy is in the United States of America. And they're pointing the finger at the people who actually want to have a civilized community and calling them the anarchists. It's all backwards. I mean, a dictatorship from tyrants? That's anarchy. Especially when America is supposed to be the home of the free. So, I think it's a very serious problem. I always like to think of Bush as a joke, but the whole thing is not funny at all anymore. The American system, just like any other system, but I'm pointing out this 9/11 thing right now, it's an indication that the leaders, the leadership, the owners have gone completely and utterly insane. This is anarchy, and it has to be dealt with. Military, police rule in the United States of America and all over the world? Come on, we're better than that.